Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. First off, make sure you guys can hear me okay and see me okay, because these live streams, you never know. Make sure everything's not backwards or upside down or something else, so make sure you guys can see me okay. Secondly, I'll see if I can do this story. Let me know if you guys can hear my video playing here that I have. Let me know if you can hear this okay. Okay, I got a couple other things we'll go over here. Just some fun stories. I like the fact that they show Pete Davidson here. Pete is not a nice guy. He's kind of a grungy bad boy. This is from Inside Hook as of just last month. Why women want nice guys now. Now, we all know this is bullshit. Women do not want nice guys. Women do not, but what they want is a provider. They want somebody that's their friend and that will take care of them. But it doesn't mean that they're hot for the nice guy. It doesn't mean they want to sleep with him. It means they want one. They say the bug changed what many women want out of relationships. Flakes and bad boys are out. Nice guys are in. That's a lie. What it should say is flakes and bad boys are out for boyfriends, but not for sex objects. Nice guys are in for dating and relationships, of course. And they say Pete, 28, just an all-around nice guy. Nice guys like Pete are cleaning up. He's not a nice guy. He's funny. He's successful. He's also covered in tattoos and dresses like a slob when he goes out. They say Mary, or Marie, name changed, obviously, because of whatever. Marie just learned she was pregnant a couple months ago. News that brightened another bug cold winter in New York City where she lives. Even though she met her boyfriend Alex only last summer and the pregnancy was unplanned, the 29-year-old marketeer is thrilled about becoming a mother. She calls Alex, who's 32, the sweetest guy, and said he's equally enthused at the prospect of parenthood. Okay, if you're the sweetest guy in the world, you're not hot. You're not desired. You're not, no. She's looking at him as daddy provider. Hubby provider. No girl says, oh, I want to bang the hell out of him. Why? He's so sweet. He's just the sweetest guy. No. But if you told Marie prior to the bug that this was how her life would unfold over the course of the next 2 years, such a forecast probably would have been more upsetting at the time. Marie describes her old self as a workaholic. Her job centered around people-facing gigs, she said, which meant many of her interactions with men were much more spontaneous and by chance and in public. She says she wasn't crazy promiscuous, quotes around the crazy, but as she puts it, crap happens. So she wasn't crazy promiscuous, just very promiscuous. And she was a workaholic. And she's 32. Or 29, 29. So what's happening? She's coming up on 30 years old. She finds out she's pregnant. She's a workaholic. And now she gets to be a stay-at-home mom while he makes all the money. And she already went out. She said she wasn't crazy promiscuous, just a little bit, or a lot of bit, but not crazy. So she already went out and had her fun. So she just found beta bucks. Like so many others, Marie was in panic mode with work once the bug hit. And isolating lockdown conditions also meant she wasn't getting the attention from men that she used to. The narcissism. Again, that need for validation dried up. She says, however, she also suddenly found herself craving more out of relationships with the opposite sex. That's what she wanted out of those relationships. But I find it interesting that they mention it was with the opposite sex. So maybe she also dated women. But here's something that I find key. She wanted something, quote, stable. What does that mean? And if anything was going to change in that category, she needed to be proactive. Bad boys are not stable. They're hot, they're fun, they're desirable, but they're not stable. And at 29, she decided she wanted stability. She said, I wasn't just swiping right on the next bad decision who I knew would, just wanted to F and ghost me. Marie says, describing her revamped Tinder habits. So she changed her Tinder habits. So what she was doing was swiping right. The reason why I'm not cursing is because I'm recording this and I'm going to put it up on YouTube. That's why I cleaned up my language all of a sudden, because I want other guys out there to hear this stuff. She said, I wasn't just swiping right on the next bad decision who I knew would just want to F and ghost me. Revamped Tinder habits. So she was banging the bad boys, letting that body count just roll up like a ticket counter at a festival with those clickers. Body count, click, 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 click. And it wasn't getting her anywhere towards stability. I don't know why that does that. It seems every time I say women want stability, that noise plays. I wonder why that is. Why do women want stability at the age of 30-something when she's done with her bad decisions? I wonder what that is. The alternative approach quickly paid off. By the summer of 2020, Marie was in a relationship that lasted nearly a year. Wow. How rare to have a relationship that lasted nearly a year for Marie, who was banging bad boys off Tinder. It was honestly the first time I slowed down and met someone and could process it all, she said. In other words, going through man and man and man without even knowing them. Just they're hot and they slept with me. It was honestly the first time I slowed down and could process it all, but what she calls a heartbreaking twist, the man she was with decided to move back home out of state. A long-distance thing wasn't going to cut it. Enter Alex, the sweetest guy. Oh, the sweetest guy. Sweetest guy is never the guy she wants to sleep with, trust me. Marie says she and Alex are as happy as a couple could be while expecting a baby less than a year into a relationship. One that's on the way thanks to an apparently ineffective birth control pill.
Classic move. Oh, yeah.
Whoopsie. Amazing how it worked fine for all those bad boys for all those years. But then all of a sudden it happened to fail when she found a stable relationship. Marie says of the relationship, we're doing well. We're accepting the consequences of our actions, and it's honestly exciting. Yep. Good luck, Alex. To all the other Alexes out there who are more nice guy than bad boy, it's your time to shine. After historically finishing last, nice guys are becoming an increasingly coveted item for women on the dating market. For the stability, you see. I don't know about you. I would rather be the bad boy going out and dipping his wick and having his fun than the guy that when she's done with that and she shows up like the old racehorse, worn out, put away wet, and she comes dripping back, literally dripping back to the stable, and some guy's like, well, it's the only horse in the barn. I guess this is the one I got. I don't know what. No man wants to be that. And you know what? This tells me also that she may have baby trapped him, because it's been less than a year. Miraculously ineffective birth control, and accepting the consequences of our actions. And it's honestly exciting. It's honestly exciting for her. I wonder if it's exciting for him, or maybe he's just the nice guy that said, you know what, I did it. I got to do the right thing here. A recent Dating.com survey found that 85% of single women polled report they are now seeking a steady partner post-pandemic. Before the pandemic, 60% of single women on the platform were open to short-term flings. But 30% of Dating.com's single ladies have since changed their relationship goals because of the last year's dating experiences. Well, what happened during the last year? Lockdowns, loss of income, rent going up more expensive. All of a sudden, women were like, hey, if things go south, bad boys are not going to stick around. Bad boys are not going to support me and be in a stable relationship. And the reason why I keep hitting that, guys, is because that's what I want you to think of every time you hear a woman say, I'm looking for a serious, long-term, stable relationship. All right, I'll stop hitting the bells. I don't want to annoy you. But I want you to just understand. It's bad boy, Tinder bad boy, Tinder bad boy. All of a sudden, 85% of women now want a steady partner. 60% were fine with the short-term flings right up until the bug came around, and lockdowns, and people losing unemployment, and inflation, and rent going through the roof, and instability, and a little bit of getting scared. That reality hit them where they say, if I lose my job, I don't have a partner. I don't have anybody to support me. I want a man that'll be two of us, and that way something happens to me, I can be supported. Now, no, I guarantee you nowhere in their mind are they thinking, and if something happens to him, I can support him. They're not thinking that. Guarantee you. And I know I've said it, and I guarantee you other men's channels have said the same thing of, look out, fellas. When rough times come a-knocking, these girls are going to be looking for the backup plan, the golden parachute, the get-out-of-jail-free card. That's what they're doing. So the funny thing is when they say here, why women want nice guys now? They don't want nice guys. They're scared. They're scared of being alone. They're scared of going through tough times by themselves. So they want the nice gentleman, the good guy, the traditional man to come along and save them when they haven't been a traditional woman for the last decade. They've been going out and just getting those notches on the belt. They say single women shared that they are now more attracted to dates who are consistent and dependable. Women express that a relationship with someone who guarantees stability is key amid the bug and ongoing certainty. They're admitting it. They're admitting it. I find stable men attractive now. Attractive to date or to sleep with or to marry. Well, not to sleep with. I found them attractive for my lifestyle, for my peace of mind, for uncertainty. All they're telling you in this article is, guys, if you want a woman in your life, be Captain Dependable. And after she's done banging and having her fun and putting those notches on her belt, then she'll come for you. Then she wants you to be her Captain Save a, Save a Garden too. Save-o. Nice guys are coveted at the moment because with them, women never feel confused about whether their prospect is interested, the status of the relationship, and where it's headed, whether or not labels have been specifically discussed. You're the backup plan. You're the safety pin. Captain Reliable. A year ago, Hinge also reported a general uptick in overall users seeking long-term relationships, while in May 2021, the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships published a study concluding that a partner's stability and family commitment has become more important to singles of both sexes amid growing bug concerns. But this trend of women especially seeking more serious male mates just isn't just playing out on dating apps. It's something dating and life coaches have noticed as well. Gee, I wonder why. She wanted to go out and have her fun. She wanted to sleep with a bad boy. When everything was good, she's making her own money. She's doing her own thing. She's hot. She's young. She's desirable. Even men 2 or 3 or 4 grades higher on the social value scale, as far as looks or income or whatever, wanted just to sleep with her, to take her out, to wine and dine her around the town and end up in bed with her. So she made her own money. She didn't need a man. So she could make her own money, and her dates were paid for, her drinks were paid for by these great-looking guys. And yeah, she put out. But why not? There's these great-looking guys that want to fold me up like a piece of origami paper, rearrange my insides. And so they did it. But the minute they worry about their stability and their future and things are a little shaky, now it's like, I got to find the best man I can find and latch onto him, get my hooks into him, save me. And that's what they want. They say the shift was so sudden, Adam Jablin, a certified life coach with at least 3 female clients who radically altered their dating outlook all within a short time period due to the isolation wrought by the bug. One woman is in her early 20s and building a successful e-commerce makeup company. Another is a 46-year-old divorcee with 3 kids, while the third is an actress whom Jablin says boasts a high profile. The young entrepreneur told Jablin that interacting with new people on a regular basis through work during the bug opened her heart to deeper romantic connections. The latter 2 clients were both coming off difficult breakups with a husband and controlling boyfriend. Again, remember, it's always the guy's fault. That's why women always leave. It's never them. For a while, neither were eager to commit and even swore to Jablin they wouldn't ever again. They had that sweet, sweet man meat. They had that sweet, sweet boy toy, that fun. The bug alone time, Jablin says, gave all these women a few beats to mentally step back, just be, reflect, and reassess. It's because they were in panic mode. See, so many people today are not okay with being by themselves, with not getting that validation, with not getting other people saying, oh, I love you, I want to be with you, I miss you, whatever. But during the bug, they were kind of forced that way. Everybody was forced apart. People couldn't go out to the bars and the pubs, and these women weren't getting attention. Maybe they were genuinely scared of the bug and were afraid to do the hookup thing. And that narcissistic supply dried up. So what are they doing? They're looking for men that'll pay attention to them. The actress has found a new partner and, according to Jablin, is having the time of her life. The divorcee is dating again, which is a big step for her, he says. And though the young business owner is still single, she's more actively dating, sleeping around, and seeking a partner for the first time as an adult. She's thriving. She's kicking ass, Jablin says. She's willing to be vulnerable. She's willing to open herself up. She's now looking for the right one. Press X for doubt. Bail out. Bail out. Bail out. I wanted to, let me see if I can find this article. But Jada Pinkett Smith has kind of come out, and I want to see if I can find this article here. I don't see it, so I won't cover it in full. Maybe I'll do a regular video on it. But Jada Pinkett Smith, remember, Will stood up and after being cucked by his wife for the last decade or whatever, and now he's off into the quote rehab, whatever. His wife is now blaming him and saying that she had nothing to do with it, and she would have stopped him if she could have, and that she blames him. And maybe I'll see if I can find that article and maybe do a video on it later this week. But how ironic that he, trying to win her over or trying to please her in some screwed up fashion, and she literally threw him right back under the bus. She threw him right back under the bus. This is what you get. And if Will Smith is miserable and unhappy, good. He should be. You never sell out for anybody. Never sell out for anybody. All right, this is from HuffPost, another trash website, but this is from just a couple of weeks ago, and I thought this was fun. Because, again, it's showing that women, they don't care about They want the sweet, kind, caring guy when things are rough. When she's lonely, she's unhappy, she doesn't feel attractive, she's off a bad breakup, no one's paying attention to her, guys aren't flirting with her, work's not going well. They always want the good guy. They want that sweet, beautiful boy right there for her to fall back on. When things are going good, though, I don't want an anchor around my neck. I want a party. Men want me. I want to be out there free and let my freak flag fly. They want it all, just depending on what's going on. Well, this is from HuffPost Personal. I met a man I thought was the one. Then I got a message that changed everything. As I scrolled through her photos, the double life that Ryan had been living came into clear view. And remember, if a man has the ability to date multiple women, and he has the ability to put in minimal effort to a woman, in other words, he only comes around once or twice or 3 times a month to throw in some D, to bury the sausage, and then he takes off again with excuses of work or whatever, and women stick around for that, he's an alpha. And when I say alpha, I mean desirable. He's a desirable man. He's a high-quality man. He's an attractive man. Because women wouldn't put up with that from some Danny DeVito, heavy-set, short, balding guy. They'd be like, no, you need to do better. Well, this woman, now, so here's the thing that I find interesting. Let me see, I think they gave her age. I think she's 48. Anyway, this is what she looks like. She's not exceptionally striking. She's showing off the cleavage, trying to get some attention here. Earlier this year, I was supposed to travel to New York City to see a Broadway musical with Ryan, the man I had been dating for the past month. This is the same man that I had dated exclusively, she thinks, for 6 months beginning in April 2021. It would be a whirlwind trip, a romantic excursion, only none of it was real. Ryan and I had broken up in November because I felt that he simply didn't have time for me. He'd cancel or change days and times of our meetings, and he could never meet on the weekends due to his summer vacations, parenting schedule, and work conflicts. I wanted to date someone who had and made space for me, so I let him go. But not really. Not enough. So here's a woman who's being blown off by a guy on a consistent basis. She thinks they were dating exclusively. He's not giving her any time whatsoever. And she says, you know what, it's not enough. I'm going to break up with you. And she did. But as she says, not really. Not really. And see, this is what happens is women will do this. Then they'll go back to dating other people. They'll meet nice guys. They'll meet guys that'll go out of their way to treat them well. In the meantime, she's still got it for the bad boy. The guy that didn't have time for her. The guy that didn't put out any energy or any effort because he didn't need to, because he was good looking, or he was good in bed, or he was a high quality man. And women don't realize it, but they end up, many women will end up sharing a high quality man versus settling for a guy that's less. Even if that guy loves them and dotes to them and gives to them. And again, you don't have to take my word for it. I read these stories for a living. I do videos of these. I've been doing them for years now. Same story over and over and over. Ryan and I had broken up in November because I felt he simply didn't have time for me. So during the time we were broken up, I dated a few men, but I never felt a true connection with anyone. I wasn't intimate with anyone. In the back of my mind, I kept thinking, they aren't Ryan. And it was Ryan I wanted to find my way back to. Now remember, she broke up with him. She says, I can't explain the draw except to say that the connection I felt with him was the connection people talk about when they meet their person. You just know, you just feel it. I felt it, she says. Let's go back here a couple paragraphs. I dated exclusively for 6 months, but I broke up with him because he never had time for me. He'd cancel. He'd change vacations. He wouldn't meet me on the weekends due to this and that and work conflicts. He blew her off, which made her see him as a high-value, busy, desirable man chasing his own life's goals. And she was along for the ride, and that's all she was. So she saw him as high value. And that's why she wanted him. Other guys gave her time. Other guys took her out. She says she didn't even sleep with him because she didn't want them. She wanted the high-value man. Whether he was high value or not, we don't know. But she had the perception of him being high value. She says, after yet another disastrous date, I texted him. So she broke up with him. He didn't care. He moved on with life. He didn't message her. He didn't reach out. And she reached back out to him. And the reason why this is important is because what happens with guys so many times is they'll have a girl that they care for, they really like her, and she ghosts, or she disappears, or she decides she wants to, she needs space, which means she needs a big dude who's like 6'1", with a 9-inch schlong, and his nickname is Space, and she needs him for the next 6 months. And guys go out of their minds. They go, oh, how do I win her back? How do I get her back? I miss her. I'm going to send her flowers. I'm going to ask her back out. I'm going to beg her to come back. Nope, just move on. Just move on. Because if she wants you, she will come back around. If she does reflect and say, you know what, you were... But usually what happens, I'll tell you how this works, is if you're a high-value male and you have plenty of options out there dating, and a girl says, you know what, you never give me time, and you only bang me and then, blow me off, I don't have time for you. As a guy, if you go, okay, whatever, instantly she'll be like, what an ass. What a jerk. I hate him. I wonder what he's up to. I miss him. He was so much fun. When he was good, but he was bad so much. And all she does is think about that guy. But if you're like, oh man, I'll do anything for you. Let's go out and do this, babe, and let's go do this, and I can't stop thinking about you. She'd be like, he's low value. I'm high value to him. I'm going to break up with him. And then she leaves and you're begging for her to come back. Your value just keeps going down and down and down and down. Ryan didn't care about her, obviously. She broke up with him. He didn't care. She came sniffing back around to Ryan. She says, I'm sitting in the parking lot of this restaurant where I'm supposed to meet this man, but he just canceled. And I don't want to be in this parking lot meeting him, I wrote. I don't want to meet any man. The only man I want to meet is you. And it's stupid, really, that we aren't dating anymore, isn't it? Remember, this is the woman that broke up with him. And she's saying it's stupid, we're not dating anymore. And if you say, dude, this doesn't make any sense. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Ding, ding, ding. What do we have for her, Johnny?
Of course it doesn't make any sense. She sees him as the unobtainable, perfect man. And the more he's unobtainable, and the more he blows her off, and the more he moves on with his life, the higher the value she sees him as being. And the other men, just being available and just asking her out and just being willing to treat her nice, she sees them as lower value. And if you say, again, that doesn't make any sense, congratulations. The more effort a man puts in during dating like this, and this may not necessarily, once you're in a relationship, you want somebody that's going to be there for you. Like I don't want to date somebody that's not going to be there for me, and I wouldn't expect to be with a woman and she expects nothing from me. But that's also being healthy. She is not in a healthy place, obviously. And she messaged him. She said he texted back and suggested we meet for coffee. That's a cheap date right there. He said he'd been dating other women, of course, but it hadn't met anyone he connected with. He said, like me, he's just been kind of going through the motions. He said he was up for trying it again. That is very low committal from him. I'll tell you what was happening. He's a high-value man. He had been dating other women as he had been the entire time. He was sleeping with all of them. And it's called, in the dating world, you guys that watch dating channels or pickup stuff, they call it spinning plates. And this gets the name because if you've ever gone to old vaudeville acts, they used to take a plate and they'd take a stick and they'd start a plate spinning on the top of a stick, and they wiggle the stick a little bit, get that plate spinning really fast, and it's just kind of wobbling on the top of this stick, and that plate's up there just wiggling and holding on. And a guy will go to the next one, and then the next one, and he keeps going on, and he sees how many plates he can get spinning on the top of these sticks at once. And the more he's got going on, you see, if one of the plates falls off the top of the stick, if that spinning plate falls off, he doesn't care. He's got 23 other plates he's trying to keep up and going. And it takes a lot of work. It's very high energy. But in the meantime, you've got a lot of women going and a lot of things going on. And the idea behind this is that one of those plates falls off a stick, or 2 or 5. It doesn't matter, because you've got so many other plates going that you don't care about those plates falling. The problem with this is twofold. Number one, it takes a lot of energy to keep those plates spinning. And number two, the reason why you want to keep all these plates going is so you don't develop one-itis, or too much emotion for one woman. You don't put too much value into one woman, because when she leaves, she breaks your heart. Well, what you're doing really is you're keeping yourself distracted and keeping yourself from falling from one woman by having a lot of distraction, by having a lot of spinning plates. The truth is, even if you're only dating one woman, and even if you're only got one plate spinning, and that's the only plate you've got going on, if you're in a healthy place in your life and you're in a good mindset, and that plate goes flinging off and falling to the floor, and now you have no plates, you know what you should be like? Oh, well, no plates right now. I don't care. I'm not getting laid, don't care. Don't have a date, don't care. Because things are going well with work, things are going well with family, things are going well with friends, things are going great in my life. I'm good. No plate, don't care. 3 plates, great. 1 plate, fine, okay. The spinning plate fallacy is that you need to have other women you can bounce to if a couple bail out on you. But all you're doing is masking your own inability to not get one-itis, even if you only have one. You should never have one-itis for anyone, unless you're married or engaged or in a long-term committed relationship. Then it's fine to be all in on one woman. But my contention is that you should never have emotional attachment to a woman like a woman does to a man. It shouldn't be the same. Because then when you are emotionally attached to a woman like a woman is to a man, you start thinking emotionally. When a man starts thinking emotionally, he screws things up. He's not thinking clear-headed. A man should be able to say, I love my girlfriend or my wife. I'll be by her. I'll support her. I'll be the best man I can to her. I'm all in. I'm with her forever. I really care for her. Oh, she left me. Moving on. Okay, that sucks. Moving on. That's hard. That's really hard. And it's a very strong detachment from somebody. But I profess that if you keep that mindset, and if you keep that attachment to a woman in that manner, number one, you stay strong, you stay on track, you stay committed, you stay focused, you know where you're going, you know what your end course is going to be, and she can be along for the ride. But if she peels off and goes off in a different direction, your rocket ship is still heading toward where you want it to go in life. The minute you say, I'm going to sacrifice this for her, and I'm going to do this for her, and I'm going to give up this for her, and what happens is that rocket ship that was aimed directly at the center of a moon, Mars, we'll say Mars, that rocket ship that is heading straight to Mars, your goal, your purpose in life, you've just changed the course 3 degrees, 2 degrees, 0.1 degrees. Doesn't sound like much, but you know what happens? You miss Mars by 100,000 miles, by 1,000,000 miles, because you diverted off your course. So that's why I say it's okay to love a woman, but the love you feel for that woman should never be like you have for your mother or your family or your dog. It's a different kind of love. It's a mentor, a partner, someone you're bringing along, that kind of love. It should never divert your course. But you can see she has. Ryan hasn't. So he's like, yeah, okay, we can try again. We can hook up again. We started texting every day. That's easy to do. I had been working with my life coach.
Come on, man.
Life coach. She needs a life coach. I'd been working with my life coach to believe that I am worthy of good things, which means she has low self-esteem, low confidence. She sees herself as low value. She sees him as high value. She says that I can have the things I want. Remember, she had other men asking her out, though, and they weren't good enough. She encouraged me to ask for what I need, so in a burst of enthusiasm, I asked him if he wanted to go with me to Palm Springs. I was shocked when he said he would, but he needs a few days to work it out, i.e., shifting other things around in his dating life. After 3 days, he said he realized he couldn't go to Palm Springs. Flights were too expensive, and he was locked into spending the weekend with his boss and a group of 60-year-old men. Instead, he told me that the Music Man was playing in New York and asked if I would go with him. So she shot for the stars. He brings her back and says, and I'm guessing maybe they were in New York or somewhere close. And he says, you want to go to the Music Man, which is much smaller than a Palm Springs vacation. She said, I was so happy I almost started crying. Again, he's putting in zero effort. She's in tears to be able to see the man that she broke up with because he wasn't willing to give her any time. Kind of crazy, isn't it? In my previous marriage, I had often asked my ex to take last-minute trips with me, but he was always too tired or said it would take too much effort. To do something wildly romantic with Ryan was amazing. They're going to go see a play in New York City, The Music Man. Is that wildly romantic? Not necessarily, but to her it was because of his value and his unobtainability. The universe would give me good things. I was worthy. I only had to ask, she said. Do you see her mindset? She's put him on the pedestal, which is the opposite of what a lot of guys do with women. To her, he's a side piece. She's a side piece to Ryan. He could care less if she existed or not. But he was her world. She said, we talked about the trip. I felt myself falling for him again, but in a new way, a way where I felt supported and cared for, a healthy way. So let's go over this again. When you read into this, you really realize how sad this is for her, but they don't see it. You guys see what's going on just by what I've read so far. She broke up with him. He's all she can think about. She asks him if they can hook up and start dating again. He says yes, but he won't go on this long, detailed trip. So he says, let's go see the Music Man instead. And all of a sudden she said, the universe is good to me. I was worthy. I only had to ask. Because he's unobtainable, he's high value. Ryan booked the theater tickets, and I paid him for mine via Venmo. So she didn't even get the date paid for. I booked the flight and the hotel. I'd cover those. He didn't have a lot of extra money, and I was happy to do it. Do you understand that? Do you see? He's the valuable one. He booked the theater tickets. She paid for hers. So he paid for his own theater ticket. She booked the flight and the hotel and paid for both of those. He didn't have a lot of extra money, and I was happy to do it. Now, when you want to talk about value, right? I mean, right there. You want to talk about value, gentlemen? When she's willing to pay to be with you. This is what lust is about. This is what desirability about. This is what high social value is about. And Ryan may or may not deserve it at this point. But I want you to understand when you say, I'm going to buy her this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this for this woman, and she's going to appreciate me for it? No, she won't. Because do you think Ryan appreciated her for booking and paying for the hotel and all those? No. Remember, she broke up with him because of he was unavailable. And now she feels supported and cared for. She says, and then I got a message on Facebook from a woman saying she wanted to know who I was. She claimed her boyfriend, Ryan, had just broken up with her. She said she saw on Venmo that I had given him money for tickets, and she looked me up. What were the tickets for? She asked. She said they'd been together for 2 years, and she wanted me to tell her what was happening. I went to her Facebook page and immediately felt sick. I discovered everything he told me during our previous 6 months together had been a lie. All those times he had work trips or fishing weekends with his buddies or obligations with his kids, he was actually with his girlfriend. As I scrolled through her photos, the double life Ryan had been living came into clear view. When he said he was out of, and I read that part, all the times he was out of town, he was actually with his girlfriend in Chicago for a jazz festival, kayaking up by the pictured rocks. Not only had Ryan created intricate lies about why he couldn't be with me, he texted me during those trips and events saying he couldn't wait to see me. He told me how nice it was to stay connected. He said he couldn't wait to be intimate with me. Perhaps worst of all was he frequently used his kids as an excuse. She says, I'm 48 years old and back in the dating world after 2 marriages and 15 years of being someone's partner. So basically 3 long, very long, serious relationships. I didn't want to do online dating, but what are my options? Ryan never earned her love, her trust. He never did anything to make her feel close to him, or all he did was be unavailable and obviously probably being a high-value, desirable guy. And here she is, 48, still on the market. And you know, it's easy to make fun of her, but I feel bad for her. I genuinely do. Because she didn't stay with any of the 2 previous marriages and the 15-year partnership she had with somebody. At 48 years old, the last guy she started dating was around 33. She's had many shots at having a long-term relationship, but instead of working out those long-term relationships, instead of making them work, and maybe the guys did something wrong too. I'm not putting it all on her, but she had 2 marriages that didn't work out. She broke up with this Ryan guy and then confesses to loving him and caring about him. Now she's 48 on the market and running quickly out of options, if she's not out of options already. Now, will she have an opportunity? Could she date a late 50s, early 60s year old guy? Yeah, he'd probably date her. Would she date him though? Probably not. And it continues on. I mean, I probably won't do all these stories, but here's another one. I felt trapped. Getting divorced is about to change forever. I've done it twice. It was almost impossible. It's time the laws changed. This woman wants the law to change so it's easier to get divorced. Her and her orange hair. Her first marriage lasted a year. Her second one, she had a kid with him, and then she realized it should be over immediately. She's 40, Vicky is 46, and a mother of 1. By the second anniversary of her first marriage, they both felt the marriage was not right. And then she got married again, and we got divorced almost immediately, right after the kid, immediately. And the stories they go on and on and on. And I'll be honest with you, okay? I got divorced, and I got married when I was 28. and divorced when I was 35. And the ex-wife and I the chemistry was gone. She didn't want to be intimate anymore. She was always focused on work. She took medicines, Zoloft and Ativan, medicines that were for her stress. Instead of working out or doing something healthy, she decided to take medication. And it took care of her stress, but it also took care of her passion and her sense of humor, and she kind of turned into a zombie. And I said, I don't want to be in this marriage any longer. And nothing I could do would get her out of it and snap her into. So I felt like I was dating a cardboard cutout. And at 35, when I got divorced, I was kind of like, man, 35, I'm getting up there. Like if I'm still single by 40 or 45, there's a good chance I might be single for the rest of my life. And at the time, I was concerned about it because I was not comfortable being single. I wasn't comfortable being alone. I didn't have much self-confidence. I didn't value myself very much. And then as you get older and you correct the problems with yourself and you correct your shortcomings, you realize, hey, you know what? If I'm alone the rest of my life, I'm alone the rest of my life. Like, I don't need to put that much value in a partner. You have to be okay being alone. You have to be all right being alone. Only then will you be okay with being with somebody else. And that's kind of the irony of it. You have to be happy and healthy and good 100% on your own. Truly. Like, can't fake it till you make it. You need to really be okay being on your own the rest of your life. Only then can you then say, okay, I will allow somebody else into my life. But people aren't doing that anymore. The one woman, the first one there, this gal here, she broke up with him because he was unavailable. And then she was going out date after date after date. She says she wasn't intimate with any of them. And all she wanted to do was be with Ryan. Why was she out there dating then? Why did she break up with him in the first place? Because of his unavailability. Why did she go back with him? Why did she take his word on, because instantly he couldn't go on another trip? It's because she wasn't in a good headspace. She wasn't in a good place. This woman complaining, oh, it's too hard to get divorced. Both my divorces took a couple of years. I want it to be quicker. But you're only with him for a year or two before going for the divorce. Why were you even with him if you didn't even last a year? And it's going from generation to generation to generation, from person to person. When the teacher wants to talk about her relationship to her students, which is part of the problem, because I'll tell you right now, I knew, like, for example, my English teacher, Mrs. Scullin. Scullin? Yeah, I think it was Scullin. Yeah, Mrs. Scullin. Her name was Mrs. Scullin. Didn't know her first name. I knew she was married, and this is in high school. I knew she was married because it was Mrs. and not Miss. Because my mother, when I was younger, taught me the difference between Miss, Ms., and Mrs. Because my parents are old and old-fashioned like that. I knew my teacher was married because of Mrs. Other than that, didn't know her birthday, didn't know her hobbies, didn't know what she went, didn't for going out on the weekends, didn't know what her husband looked like, didn't know what he did. None of my damn business. Shut up and do your English assignment. That was school when I was in school. But now these teachers want to talk about their life experiences and their divorces and their marriages and their buy this and girlfriend that and boyfriend and 4 kids. But what that does is when kids hear this coming from a mentor like a teacher, coming from maybe a single mom, seeing her going out and smashing guy after guy or bringing lots of guys home or whatever. What it does is it carries on. That's where you get things like this. And thank you again to the user that sent these in to me. Meet Britain's youngest grandma. And again, this is from thesun.co.uk fabulous section. This is under the fabulous section. This is fabulous. A grandmother at 30. She had a kid at what's that? 13 and a half. She says she's 30. Her daughter is 17, which means this mom had a baby at 13 years old. And her daughter, Salter, now 17, gave birth to son Bailey 3.5 years ago, which means she, 17, 16, 15, 14, was 13 and a half. Mom has a kid at 13. Daughter has a kid at 13. What are the odds? Pretty high, obviously. And this is under the fabulous section of The Sun. I don't see anything fabulous about that. She doesn't look to be too happy right here. And her mom is 48. And she's, 30, which means her mom, the mom of the kid in this story, was 18. So an 18-year-old has a kid, that kid has a kid at 13, and her kid has a kid at 13. All these stories come together. They're all connected. This is what happens when morality and the fabric of society and normalcy and good judgment go out the window. People make bad life decisions, and then they're passed off as good life decisions, and so people emulate it, and the problems just compound and get worse. I want you to see this image of this young gal. See if I can get it to zoom in. This is a young lady. She's not very old. This is a young gal here. Teaching assistant, 21. Was with student, 15, twice after telling him age is just a number. But she is spared jail. She's a 21-year-old gal. What is she doing? What is she doing with a 15-year-old telling him age is just a number? Why is she teaching? Now, yes, she did have to register. But she sent messages to the kids saying you're fit to a 15-year-old before taking her to her home. These are and when you've got teachers like this, what are they teaching the students? Well, you know what? She taught that 15-year-old. Let me tell you that. She taught him emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
Nah, she taught him a good time. I mean, I was 15 when I lost mine to an 18-year-old. It was not a traumatic experience. 15 to me is not such a big deal, but this is also a teacher who asked him out saying he was fit and came on to him. This is who's in charge of our young people. So then why is it a surprise when we've got young kids growing up all messed up like they are? Because it's coming from the older generation that is all screwed up. Again, if you take... You guys have looked at memes. I know all of you have seen memes online. If you look at a meme that has been around for 15 years, like some of those SpongeBob ones, people will save the JPEG or the GIF, and that's graphical interface, GIF. That's why you pronounce it that way. When you save those and re-up those and save those and re-upload and save and re-upload, they start losing fidelity. They start becoming very blurred because it's a copy of a copy of a copy. That's what we're doing with humanity. Bad decision, teaching children for bad decisions, teaching the next generation bad decisions, and here we are. Here we are. But I got 15 minutes left. I'll wrap it up with the best news for you guys yet. Male birth control pill, 99% effective on mice. Human trials to start soon. Now, I still think the best idea is to get a snip, to get a vasectomy, be done with it. The other thing, and I'm not sure I don't know if this is a thing, but I heard they were working on this at one point in time. You could go into a doctor and they could clamp the vas deferens tube where your little swimmers go down through. I heard they were trying this, I think it was in India, where they could clamp it, tuck it back in, sew you up. It was like one stitch right in the middle of the boys, and clamp it shut. And then if you ever wanted to have kids, you could have the clamps taken off. I'd be careful on this stuff only because these are chemicals and you don't know the terms to it. But if you're adamant you want kids someday, and I'd still recommend wearing the raincoat if you're with out there playing. But they do have this on the way. And I think this is good news. Scientists have developed a non-hormonal. There you go. I think that is good. Non-hormonal. I did not read this story, by the way. I just saw it and I was like, oh, I'll open that and talk about it. So maybe something I mentioned will pop up. A non-hormonal male birth control pill with 99% effectiveness and no obvious side effects in mice. But it says no hormone. Typically targeting the sex hormone testosterone can lead to unpleasant side effects like weight gain, etc., etc. They say highlighted the reason for their male contraceptives' effectiveness and lack of side effects. The pill does not target testosterone. Currently, testosterone inhibition is the most common method. As of now, the options for men are limited to raincoats, Jimmy hats, and a snip, the vasectomy. While women have multiple, about 18, available to them, including both orally and IUDs and the lady raincoats. So they say targeting, they already read this, they kind of repeated it. The researchers targeted a protein called the retinic acid receptor alpha. This protein is one of a family of 3 nuclear receptors that bind retinoic acid, a form of vitamin A that plays important roles in sperm formation and embryonic development. By removing the RAR receptor in male mice, scientists could make male mice sterile. It was given orally for mice for about 4 straight weeks, reducing their swimmer counts by 99%, and without any observable side effects, although that's kind of tough to tell on a. And they say the mice could father pups again 4 to 6 weeks after they stopped receiving the compound. So I think this is interesting. So there may be hope for us yet, gentlemen, that way, you can start taking the stuff. You can start taking this stuff and have an opt-out. And that doesn't mean that, you're 100%, but 99% is just about as good as you're going to get with that other stuff. So I think that's good news. Oh, and I'll do this last screenshot. These are the mothers of today, guys. These are the mothers of today. Women sues IVF clinic for wrongly implanting a male, not female, embryo from her wife during IVF. Gave birth to son and likened having a male fetus inside her as akin to unwanted male aggression. And here are the lovely couple. Can you imagine being this couple's son? And they're like, I feel like I was violated because I had a boy coming out of me, even though I have a child now. I hope they put it up for adoption. I really do. I really do. This poor kid. But when we talk about bad times, we talk about bad times, we're here. This is it. I mean, we're in the middle of it. We're in the thick of it. Can it get worse? Yeah, I'm sure it can get worse. But, we see the writing on the wall. We know that where this is going, and we have a good community. Hopefully you guys are finding male friends, hobbies, other activities that you like to do that'll keep your mind off this stuff. The days of father knows best, and the house on the hill with a white picket fence and the 2.2 kids and the loving, doting wife, that's over. And I'm not saying that it cannot be done, but that's not the norm anymore. The norm is the craziness and the weirdness and all this other stuff. So as long as you know that, then if you do find a great gal and you decide to get married and things work out for you, okay, like you're all right. Just understand that you're the exception, not the rule. And that this is the new stunning and brave. This is the acceptable stuff. I got a video. I'm going to be doing a one-off video for YouTube and here as well. I'm not going to make this part of the live stream, but the NFL, they've sold out for women. Now, the NFL has a requirement that an assistant head coach or assistant to the head coach has to be a minority person or a woman. Now, I don't know about you. There's not a lot of women that play football, so I doubt there's many women that coach football. And I doubt there's many women that know how to coach football. But let's just stick them in there so women can be included in something they know nothing about. And if they hire a minority for the same reason, here's the thing. If you're a good coach and they hire you for this position and you're maybe a minority or something, isn't that kind of insulting, not knowing if you got the job because of the color of your skin or as your ability to coach? And if you're a woman and you get this job, assistant to the coach or whatever, same thing. How many of these women actually have played and know football? None of them, obviously. But I'll be reading that story off on another video for you guys. But I just want to give you a heads up that it will be out there. Plus, I'm pretty sure you'd like to see those gals in their little micro bikini things. This is actually from I think they called it the League of Legends or not League of Legends. It was something football, Legends of Football, something like that. Some league where they're trying to make girls running around in bikinis playing sports. Like men like girls in bikinis and men like football. Let's combine the two. No, the two don't go together because men want to see the peak and pinnacle of athletic ability. That's football. Men want to look at pretty girls. That's bikinis. Men do not want to look at women in bikinis trying to play football. I just don't. Legends Football League, that's it. I just don't see. Whatever. None of it makes any sense anymore. Yeah, women in UFC are doing decent, but they're not wearing bikinis trying to look hot. You got these little booty shorts down here on this girl. I mean, I've seen girls on the beach wearing bigger stuff than that. UFC fighters aren't wearing that. They're wearing rash guards, and they got mouthpieces in. Their hair is up in a braid, and they're bashing each other's face in. That's not about seeing women in bikinis looking hot. This is. And I actually like watching women do UFC fighting, like the UFC, stuff like that. I watch a couple of women fight. It's kind of interesting. But I don't know. For me, this is just, I don't know, it's like women trying to get men's attention. Oh, you like football and you like bikinis? We'll combine the two. And that, to me, you're not mixing chocolate and peanut butter here. You're like mixing chocolate and orange juice. Like the two, I like both, but I don't like them together. That's all I'm saying. Guys, thank you again for joining me. If you're here on the local side of things, thank you very much for the support. Now, yes, this is not just for supporters. This is for anybody that's over here. But this is also my hope that you will consider supporting me today. But they're also ad-free over here. So you get my content ad-free. Consider becoming a supporter. If you're here on YouTube and you caught the stuff, well, you watch the ads, so you can pay for it that way. And you get the rated G version instead of the adult version where I started off over on locals and all that. So, guys, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. I'll be doing more live streams. This summer I'm going to be, or this spring/summer, I'm going to be visiting family in upstate New York. I'm going to be going up there with my mom to spread my father's ashes in a river that he used to live on. So I'll be doing that and taking probably a week or two off. I've got to go up to Tennessee and check out the land and mark off where I want cleared. So I'll be in and out. So if it seems like I'm putting out a little less content, please understand. I just got a lot of real life going on, but that's why I appreciate you guys' support, because it lets me live my life and do my thing by you supporting me and all that good stuff. So thanks again. We'll see you next time. And remember, fellas, they may want the nice guy, but only for that bailout. The rest of it's a train wreck. They're making bad decisions. Don't let them pull you into their bad decision as well. We'll see you next one.